We're going to start off with Liverpool, who are absolutely unstoppable at the moment. 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Are they now, not just the favourites, are they going to run away with it? Because they are absolutely on it at the moment. I mean, you think about when we were speaking about that Forest loss, and we were sort of like, the wobble of Slot, and the way they've responded to that. You know what I think about Liverpool, Will? It's just elite coaching. They're not even playing as well as maybe Arsenal did a year or so ago, or the way Man City did. I think that will come. But what he's done, it's just pure, and not enough people are talking about it, it's just pure coaching. The way they're not necessarily great in the first half, and then he changes it at half-time. And to be fair, they had the game won at half-time against Villa, but they are so well organised. They're not conceding many goals. They're winning games. They're not really dominating teams, but they're not being dominated. They're not winning games luckily. You sort of like go standard 2-0 win. It's just pure coaching. And I'm not saying it's a rich tapestry of, football and, oh my God, this is amazing. But it must be encouraging for Liverpool fans to know that he's mastered the art of getting results. And then you can see when the quality comes down the line, and when I say quality, it's already there, but burning teams 4-5-0.
Yeah, they're just very adaptable, aren't they? Like you said, that Chelsea game, they sort of altered their style, went counter-attacking, that they've been more dominant in other games as well. I just think it's quite refreshing to see. The best thing about it is none of us predicted this, isn't it?
No.
Where we've had
I think I did.
No, don't.
I think I did.
I'll give you your credit when it's due, but not now. Stand back.
I did say people are writing Liverpool under Slot, but
you didn't have them 5 points clear in the third international break.
I said they'd win the Champions League.
Right, brilliant.
I'd had a few to drink, but it doesn't matter. It came out of my mouth.
Premier League review, it says down here. But I think that, the way he's been adapting with the tactics as well. And like Trent comes off, and for some teams, that would be like a monumental sort of, oh no, what we're going to do. Conor Bradley comes on, does a really good job. And I think across...
I was going to call him Niles Barkley then, for some reason. He's a singer, isn't he?
Yeah.
I remember when... Yeah. Conor Bradley. I'm glad you said the name.
You'd have to be crazy to get that wrong. No, I just think they've got the squad is perfect. Robertson and Tsimikas have been sort of interchangeable, haven't they? Through those different areas, the midfield up front, Darwin Núñez just brings joy to my heart because sort of half the game I feel like I could play up front for Liverpool the way he plays, and then the other half of it he's like an absolute world class striker, isn't he? So they're just a team you can get behind. I think if you don't support Manchester United, or even if you do.
I can't get behind him.
Well, you are getting behind him.
Not getting behind him. I'm just a very pragmatic, good analyst of football who doesn't let emotion get in the way of it.
You actually don't need an
silly
agent.
Things. Start saying silly things like Liverpool are overrated. They're just really lucky. I was looking forward to that game on Saturday. It wasn't as good as the Brighton Man City game. We'll talk about that. But I thought that there was a couple of contentious issues. Let's just get those out of the way. Villa, I think even Lineker mentioned it. You know what I would say to Villa fans? In fact, one of my mates who's a Villa fan, he went up to the game to watch it, and I think it was corporate. But ultimately, he wasn't very confident of them going up there for the reasons that he said we're just not very good in the final third at the moment. And whether they should have had a penalty or not, it's a bit like when Ten Hag got sacked after West Ham. Look, we should have had a penalty. It shouldn't have been a penalty to West Ham, but we should have done enough in the game. You can't be hiding behind things like that. And I think across the game, yet again, Villa were just, in the final third, lacking confidence. It's like they're very good at getting back to front, and then in the final third, they just seem to have lost a lot of confidence in relation to they got into good positions and then didn't finish them off. Even that Morgan Rogers chance at the start of the second half, that should have been, at that point, was it 1-0? So that would have been 1-1?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so big chance missed there, but I don't think they can have any complaints, and I don't really think the penalties for me were clearly cut wrong. You could see them being given, but
I don't think they were clear and obvious ones to be overturned. And then I think it's something that's been brewing. Like we spoke with Manchester City, with like the Southampton and Wolves wins, but you're like, what's going on there? And then the way that the Champions League maybe is sort of creeping up on Aston Villa, because the excitement's there at the start of it, isn't it? It's like you're energised, you're in the Champions League, the music's playing, you got Munich at home, you're winning that. And then as it slowly progresses, especially now with the 8 games, the more toll it takes on the team. It's a massive cliche, but when we get into Christmas, that's when the true colours will show, wasn't it? So I'm keeping my eye on them.
Well, also, just talking about Morgan Rogers, obviously, we like to identify players that excite us, and I think Morgan Rogers has done that. But I think one player from that game that deserves huge credit is Curtis Jones. I think he's really impressed me for about 12 months now. probably ever since that red card, which I think was a bit harsh against Spurs. But I think sometimes you bring younger players into the setup, and that not everybody's Kobe Mainoo. Sometimes they're Kieran Richardson in a United sense, and
Chadwick.
Yeah, Luke Chadwick. I think with Liverpool, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, I did feel a little bit at the start like they were just sort of being forced upon everybody as maybe they're not going to be good enough. But I think what you've got in a player there is not only is he good enough, I think the England call-up, did he get an England call-up?
I was literally just Googling that.
Well, he should have done, basically. That's what I'm hinting at, because he is now in that midfield three of McAllister, Gravenberch and obviously Jones, and he gives so much. There was a game not long ago, it might have been the Chelsea game. I think he scored and he made a brilliant block on Cole Palmer. I'm right, it was clearly Chelsea. And I gave him man of the match in that game. And I think against Villa again, fantastic. I mean, look, it's frustrating. But then again, we can't complain because we've got Mainoo at United. But especially when it's a midfielder, when you're finding a midfielder that can do the lot, basically the quintessential box-to-box player, and they're coming through your youth setup. Begrudgingly, looks like a very, very good player, and looks like a player that could really blossom at Liverpool and potentially for England. I think he's that good at the moment.
Yeah, I think, when you look at Emery, it feels like he's going into a bit of a test at Aston Villa where everything, he's took them from rock bottom to Europe. Last season was amazing. I think this could be a tricky spell for him. I think he'll navigate it. I think Arne Slot's going to have that. Yeah. At some point of the season, isn't it?
Well, it's that Man City game, which is they've got Southampton.
December,
they've got Southampton next, which obviously, barring a bloody miracle, they'll win that. And then it's
Pep Guardiola said they're one of the best teams in the league, Southampton. So,
yeah,
and he
doesn't talk shit,
and he's won Premier Leagues.
Anyway, after that, it's Liverpool, Anfield, Man City. Now, I would anticipate that at least. Well, Man City have got Spurs where they'll probably win. So they should both win their next game, which means Man City, Liverpool, Anfield, 5-point gap. Yeah. If that is a loss for Man City, I mean, obviously if it's a win for Man City, it's game on. But if that is a loss for Man City, 8 points clear of Man City, we're already probably counting out Arsenal.
Yeah, well, I don't. Say it was a Man City 8 points clear, a Liverpool 8 points clear. It's not the same, is it?
No.
They're a juggernaut.
I wouldn't rule Man City.
No, and I just get worried, especially with January coming round, because scorning a Pep Guardiola going into January. If it is, I wonder, if it is his last season, do they even go even more where he identifies talent and goes right, I need to bring in a centre back. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark Gay ends up at Manchester City for 90 million, and then they just
do that.
They can do that. So that's the worrying thing for that. I think Arne Slot. But the best thing about this Premier League is that game will be amazing, hopefully, although the big games have been a bit crap recently. But then this Premier League, more than ever, I could see multiple teams taking points off everyone this year. So that's the exciting thing.
I think even if Liverpool took an 8-point gap on Man City before Christmas, the reason I wouldn't say it's over, I would if it was Arsenal. In fact, it is over for Arsenal because they're 9 points, aren't they? I think in this Premier League, Man City are the only ones that are capable of winning 10 in a row. Yeah. And that's why I think Man City will still win the league.
Rodri's injury time gets...
Matt, just very, very quickly, who's winning the league then?
Ooh, that's a nice one, that. Let's go Liverpool.
Good. I'm still going to go Man City because I'm a bit stubborn in my conviction. But, I'm going to go Man City. And I'm not answering who I'd rather win.